Hi folks, Dr. Bob McCauley. I'm owner of the Watershed Wellness Center in Lansing, Michigan, and you can find me at DrBobMcCauley.com or watershed.net. And I'm going to talk to you today about the two most powerful foods known. Spirulina and Chlorella is my latest health book, kings of all superfoods. So what are spirulina and chlorella? Well, before I tell you what those are, actually there are two types of algae. We're going to get into that in great detail. I can tell you that right now. Technically, they're not two types of algae, but we'll get into that. I'm a naturopathic doctor, ND. A lot of people say, what? An ND? Never heard of it. It's like an MD, only we know how to tell people to be healthy. And like I tell people all the time, health is in one direction, medicine is in the other. So you can make your choice. I keep myself healthy. I'm in my late 60s, and I have never been on a medication, and I can still run a 6-minute mile. I feel great, and I work out 5 days a week, and I live on a diet of mostly raw fruits and vegetables. We'll talk about that maybe another time. But I wanted to talk to you today about these two great superfoods, spirulina and chlorella, and what they are, and how do we know about them and what we do. And before I get into that, let me give you a little bit of a background of who I am and what I've done. I'm actually a certified nutritional consultant, a certified master herbalist, and a naturopathic doctor. And it took me about 7.5 years to complete all those degrees. But to be honest, most of what I know about health is what I've experienced myself. And that's what you really got to do. Because you can talk all day. I've seen some of the most unhealthy people who are health gurus. And it's like you're looking at them and going, I'm supposed to follow you? Kind of like, what are you doing day in and day out? And I'll do the opposite because you look terrible. So you should have, some energy of going around about you or something if you're going to be calling yourself a health guru. And that's what I am, a health guy. I really know. And I've written a bunch of books on health, actually 10 total, 2 of them on fiction. If you go to Amazon.com and look up Bob McCauley, ND, you'll find my books. Or if you go to Audible.com, same thing. So I've got, I think it's now 10 books, 2 of them in Spanish on Audible.com. So I've read most of my books, all but 1 or 2, and myself. And they're on Audible.com. It's pretty cool to read a book, and it's not easy. It's really hard, actually, really, really hard to get it right. But I have a 7-component health protocol, and what those are, 7 components of great health. Very quickly, they are alkaline ionized water. Water is so important. I wrote a book called The Miraculous Properties of Ionized Water, the definitive guide to the world's healthiest substance. And yes, that's my #1 book, and I've sold thousands and thousands in a 3rd edition now, and it's the definitive, kind of the water Bible. And second component, #2, is spirulina and chlorella, 2 types of algae, the strongest foods in the world, and what we should be using for our protein rather than animal protein. I'm a vegan, for instance. I've been a vegetarian 44 years, but I've been a vegan now around 25, maybe 30 years. And anyway, I don't eat meat, fish, eggs, or dairy. I haven't eaten meat in 44 years. So if you think you need to have meat to run a 6-minute mile or to be healthy or never visit a doctor and be incredibly healthy, never be on a medication, this is 1 and 2 of the foods that definitely belong in your diet. And #3 is a raw food diet. I eat almost exclusively raw fruits and vegetables. Number 4 is probiotics and prebiotics, the friendly bacteria for our gut health. All disease comes from your diet. If you want to be healthy, stop putting the wrong things into your body. Start putting the right things into your body. Number 5 on the 7-component health protocol is minerals, staying mineralized. Minerals are the keys that start the engine of our health. Every single physiological process, there are thousands of them, depend on a particular mineral to get going and get it started. So very important to stay mineralized. There was a guy years ago, Joe Wallach, he wrote Dead Doctors Don't Lie. It was about minerals and staying mineralized. So really a big thing. I know all these things I'm talking about. These are the products that I sell, and everything I sell is I sell my lifestyle. This is what I do. Number 6 is daily vigorous exercise. I do work out 5 days a week, very hard. I run a 6-minute mile. I work out cardiovascular every day. I lift weights. And I don't ever go any more than around 25-30 minutes when I do work out, because you really don't need any more. It kind of becomes counterproductive after that. And then staying positive, a positive mental attitude. That is one of the most important things that you can do for your health. We're going to focus on today, of course, is spirulina and chlorella. What are they? Where do they come from? Well, let's get the first one. My favorite is called chlorella, and that was my cat. Is chlorella. And chlorella is a green algae. It is a true algae. It is the first food on the planet. It is been around for billions of years, almost essentially unchanged. The species that I'm promoting, and I tell you should take, is called 𝐄𝐍𝐉𝐎𝐾. It used to be called Pyrenodosa, but now it's 𝐄𝐍𝐉𝐎𝐾. I am the largest importer of both chlorella and spirulina from Taiwan in the U.S. I don't import anything from China. I don't like the quality. I never have. But there's spirulina from a few other places, but chlorella, there's really not very many places other than Taiwan and China, but I import the stuff from Taiwan. So that's that one, and then the other one, spirulina. Now, spirulina is a blue-green algae. No, it's not. It's actually a cyanobacteria. So cyano, blue, bacteria, and that's what it is. So it's kind of half animal, half plant, half bacteria, half plant. It grows in a spiral, so they call it spirulina or spirulina. And again, cyanobacteria. And so this is actually the particular species we're talking about is Spirulina plantensis. And it was around 300 million years before the advent, meaning on the planet, before the first true plant came into existence, and that was chlorella. And that was obviously an algae. It was waterborne, and it was kind of the precursor to all the other plants on the planet. So there's a few other good healthy algae that exists out there. There's something called marine phytoplankton, and that's what it comes out of the ocean. Something called Schizonarium. It's another one. It's a marine algae. It's got a lot of fat in it. It's really good. It's got DHA. They're kind of hard to cultivate. They're expensive. If you want to eat those, you definitely should. There's one called Euglena, but nothing compare with the two greatest foods in the world, spirulina and chlorella, the kings of all superfoods. And this is my book. If you haven't read my book, we have copies down there at the community college, and you get in touch with Moselle Lang, and she will give you she'll give you a copy of the book. I think she's still got some. They're real popular, so I don't know if she still has any in stock. There's other things. There's something called astaxanthin that's made with an algae called Haematococcus. Astaxanthin is a carotenoid, and so it's like a carrot is a carotenoid. It's a kind of a pigment, and it's one of the most powerful nutrients found anywhere in nature. But that's not an algae. It just kind of is grown with an algae. We won't get into the details. I could do a whole talk on that alone, but we won't do that today. So why spirulina and chlorella are the two most nutritionally dense foods in the world. They have the broadest array of nutrients of any food in the world, and they both have around 60% protein. So that's what you should use for your protein, rather than animal protein, meat, fish, eggs, or dairy. And it's not because I'm any kind of an advocate, or animal rights person or whatever. Those are just different side issues. I'm only talking about health. And if we were to eat animal protein, let's just get into this in the beginning so we can get it out of the way. Because most animal protein, like, you take meat, that's around 15 to 18% protein at the most. You can find really, really lean cuts around 20%, maybe like filet mignon, 20-21% protein. Other than that, those are just around about 15 to 20% protein, really less than that. Whereas again, spirulina and chlorella, 60% protein. They have a full complement of amino acids, and they're in the right ratio to one another. We look at animal protein. For instance, chicken is very high in methionine, an amino acid. Well, that's sulfur-based. That's why when you eat a lot of eggs, you kind of smell a little bit like sulfur if you keep eating too many of those. And that's what those are. So at any rate, the reason, if you were to eat those raw meat, fish, eggs, and dairy, you would be fine. But we don't eat our animal protein raw. We always cook it. And it's the cooking of the meat, fish, eggs, and dairy that really makes it dangerous. So if you were to eat raw meat, fish, eggs, and dairy, you wouldn't have a problem. But who does that? Well, we have sushi. That's about it. You got Rocky and his eggs, eating, drinking eggs down. That's about it. There's a steak tartare, okay. And that's the truth. It's really the cooking of it that really destroys these protein structures, because what happens is your body takes amino acids and forms them into protein chains. And then you eat those, okay, so that's the meat, and we have protein chains in our body, and then you have to break down the protein chains into amino acids and then reform them into human proteins so we can use in our body. Well, this is laborious, and the problem was, especially if you cook things at very high temperatures, well, you kind of destroy the protein chain, and it turns into kind of like mush, and it becomes very dangerous, especially at high temperatures. So the idea that meat is such an incredible food, it's a health food, it's a subsistence food. There's nothing that special about it. The reason people eat meat is because they like the taste of it. It's really the only reason we eat any cooked foods. We like the taste of it. That's all. I'm a raw foodist, and so I only eat raw fruits and vegetables. And so how could you live that way? Well, I like being healthy. That's why I do it. Would I prefer to just eat cooked foods? Well, for the taste, yeah. But when you finally say, well, gosh, if I keep eating like this and living like this, I'm going to get old and sick and die. And that's the thing. When you get old, you get sick, but it's not from age. No one ever dies because they got old. They die because they live on a wrong diet. So if you want to keep living and living and living, like I'll tell you something right now, I'm one of the only people who are going to look at you with a straight face, and here's my straight face. There's my straight face, and tell you I'm not going to die of a disease. Okay, I'm going to die, and God's going to take me when He's ready to take me. But it's going to be accident, probably murder, assassination, could be, as a lot of people don't like me. A lot of people in my own family really don't like me, but because I kind of tell it how it is, and they don't like me for that. But suicide, never commit suicide. This is a big mistake. God put you in a train here, and you're going to get off at this station, and if you jump off in the middle, there's no more trains coming. You're going to be in a really bad place. So don't do that. But I'm going to die. I'm not looking forward to death in any way, but it's not going to be from a disease. I don't ever have to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning and go, oh, where's that test report? What's it coming in here? What does it, do I have cancer? Do I have a fatal disease? Do I have MS? I'm so, my bones aren't working. I got all my buddies, kind of all in their 60s. They got arthritis. Their hips are killing them. They're all carpenters. They can't work anymore, And that's kind of the way it is. So people get old, they get sick, and they die. No, people live on the wrong diet, they get sick and they die. And that's why you see kids with cancer at 9, 10, absolutely, or earlier, 5 years old. And absolutely unheard of when I was growing up in the 1960s. Now they've got entire hospitals dedicated to, children with cancer. What happened? Well, our food supply. So I just, as an aside, I don't eat anything out of a jar or a box or a can. All right. I don't go to the supermarket ever and buy that stuff. I go to the produce section. I buy all my produce, and I have a nice garden in the summer, and I do a lot of sprouting in the winter. And those are the foods that I eat. And those are powerful foods, and I always put them into my body. I feel fantastic every single day and full of energy, clear-minded. I'm not walking around foggy or anything like that. But it is about what you put into your body. It's all about your diet. So you don't get sick, you don't get old, you don't become elderly and get sick and die. You put the wrong foods in your body and you get sick and you die. And I guarantee that's what's coming for you and anybody else, or for me if I were to live on a cooked food diet, but I choose not to. And I use spirulina and chlorella, 2 types of algae, the strongest foods in the world, for my protein. And now they have the broadest array of nutrients of any foods in the world, and they're the most nutritionally dense foods of any foods in the world. There are only 2 foods in the world that you could live on exclusively and get all your basic nutrients. Okay, so there's no other foods that you could do that. There's foods you could live on for sure. You could live on a lot of things. I mean, people live on McDonald's, so there you go. But they're not living a healthy lifestyle. But if you had ultimate survival foods, then or just emergency foods, you want spirulina and chlorella. So I'd recommend pick up some spirulina and chlorella at some point and kind of tuck it away, put it in the freezer, put it somewhere. And in an emergency, that's going to be your #1 go-to if you want to survive a long period of time. And you just, they're sold as tablets and or powder, and I just basically eat the tablets. I don't really mix it up into any drinks, but you can. People put it in smoothies. They make cakes out of it. They put the spirulina, it has a beautiful blue color to it, and they do that. So I don't do that kind of stuff ever. But I take a small handful, okay? I don't have any right in front of me right now, but I take a small handful, 10 or 12 tablets. They're kind of small, the ones I have. And so we're only talking really 3 or 4 grams, maybe 10, 12 tablets of these tiny little tablets. And that's all the protein you need for that meal. Because you want protein with every single meal you eat, but you don't need a lot of protein. I mean, the idea that, again, we just got brainwashed, into what we were supposed to eat. Well, you get up in the morning and you have a nice solid breakfast. That's the most important meal of the day. Now, I get up in the morning and I have a breakfast of nothing other than water. So I get up in the morning and I have a big tall glass of water like that, okay? Alkaline ionized water. That's the best water in the world. And it's an entirely different talk, so we won't go into that today. But that's how I start my day. And then I fast up until, I don't eat anything till about noon, and then I have some fruit. And I take spirulina and chlorella. And then at dinner, I have a salad. And I don't have like lettuce salad and how do you fill yourself up. My salads are dense. They're full of greens. I do kale and dandelion greens and arugula. I'm an arugula king. I love arugula. Maybe parsley. These are the foods that, they're dense, nutritionally dense. So I have that. It's a broad array of nutrients. And I probably eat 200 or 300 different types of foods every single year. And if you look at people say, well, you must get tired of your salad every single night. Well, to be honest, anybody will tell you, the average person, the average family, they have around 6 or 7 meals that they eat. And then they shuffle them in and out of their diet. And that's about it. The 6 or 7 meals that they eat, that they sit down to. And we're going to have this tonight, and we're going to have that tonight. It's all the same thing, kind of made a different way, moved around a different way. It's always the same foods. So I'm eating 200 or 300 different types of raw foods every single day, or every year, throughout the year, I should say. I'm sorry, and just every single day, and I feel great. I'm never really hungry. I'm not overweight. I said I exercise. I mineralize my body. Probiotics is a big part of it. But spirulina and chlorella, those are the foundations of nutrition. The foundations of my nutritional life. Now these 2 foods, where do they come from? Well, we take them out of a lake. No, we don't. No lakes. There is a lake. There's a type of blue-green algae out there called AFA, Aphanes monflaus aqua. And that comes out of a place called Klamath Lake in Oregon. And that's a blue-green algae. Now, ours, spirulina, you can get it from the wild if you really look for it. But really, it is grown in a controlled environment. Meaning we cultivate them in these ponds, and the chlorella we cultivate in ponds as well. They're kind of done differently. You know, if you get my whole book, you'll get all the details on how they're grown and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, look, folks, in the end, we test them very carefully. We know exactly the heavy metals that are in them. We know in spirulina, is there something called BMAA? That's an amino acid. It's very dangerous, and it can cause Lou Gehrig's disease. If you ever hear about these algae blooms in fresh water, that's going to be one of these cyanobacteria. Okay, like spirulina is a cyanobacteria, but we grow it in a controlled environment. And so we know how to do this so we don't grow things like microcystins, okay, or have BMAA. So we test for it. So we have those reports. And because they can be very dangerous, but so can a lot of other foods if you don't cultivate them and eat them in the right way. And chlorella, same thing. And now you're not going to have microcystins or BMAA in chlorella. But it is, we've tested for heavy metals and herbicides, pesticides, and, we have all sorts of certifications. And it's just kind of the way that you got to, the kind of tests you have to have in the world these days. Meaning, there's all sorts of suppliers. They're going to, and the people who use this and the people who package it and use it, they are, really, really want those documentations. We have all sorts of certifications for, our chlorella, our spirulina. Kosher certification is one, as an example. ISO 9001, FSSC 22000. These are all GMP. These are all these kind of certificates that people are looking for, and when they want to take this and put it into the public as a supplement, because that's how these are sold for the most part. They're sold as supplements. People add them to foods. We sell a lot of the powder for that, and then mostly tablets. That's what most people take them. But so they are the two most powerful foods in the world, grown in a very careful environment and not just taken out of a lake or something like that. Very important to know that, because you got to know the source of your food. I mean, where does this stuff come from and how good is it? Like I said, I don't buy anything from China. I don't trust China and Chinese products. I mean, I'm sure they're wonderful people, but you look, it's a very uneven source of chlorella and spirulina that is being grown in China. And so I like to go to the plant. I want to go see the ponds. I want to see where this stuff is grown. So I know I've probably been to more spirulina and chlorella plants than maybe anybody. Very few people have been to so many that I've been in. And I really have been all over the world. I've been to India. I have been to China and seen it. They're terrible in China. And Taiwan. Even on my honeymoon, my wife loved it. She says, "Hey, let's go to a spirulina and chlorella plant on our honeymoon." Yeah, anyway, we did go to a couple of them. Probably 4. Anyway, so that's what we did, and I visit the plant, so I know the source. Now, getting into what these superfoods are, again, 60% protein, 60. And what else is in there? Well, you've got an array of all sorts of other nutrients in there. Vitamins, minerals, broad array. You got vitamin C. You don't have vitamin D. There's no iodine. In case anybody's wondering about that. There's no iodine in either spirulina or chlorella. You'll find those in other seaweeds like kelp or laminara. They're very high in iodine. But so I recommend iodine, very important for the thyroid. I do recommend you supplement with that, unless you're taking something what they call brown seaweed extract or kelp. So you can do that. And there's a lot of people out there, I'm just going to tell you something. They're what I call superfood deniers, okay? And you hear these deniers out there. They're denying what they think is the truth or whatever. Well, they're superfood deniers. And you always can tell because they call spirulina and or chlorella, you ready? Pond scum. That's when you know you got somebody who has no clue what they're talking about. And those come from a lot of people, what we call nutritionalists, actually, yeah, and dietitians, because they've been taught in school that these are pond scum. It's just so ignorant, it's not even funny. Again, 2 most powerful foods in the world. They're not pond scum. They're not dangerous. They're incredibly powerful, dense, nutritional foods, and with this broad array of nutrients. Again, chlorella gets its name from chlorophyll, the highest of any plant, almost 3%. That's off the charts. You look at something like wheatgrass. I mean, it's like, you know, a good food, a great food, but how much chlorophyll is in there? Not that much. I mean, less than 1% of the food is probably chlorophyll. There's nothing wrong with that, but if you look at chlorella, where it gets its name from the chlorophyll, by the way, chlorophyll, in my opinion, our most important nutrient. You know, chlorophyll cell and a human blood cell are identical to one another in every way, except there's magnesium at the center of a chlorophyll cell, and there's iron at the center of a human blood cell. So there you go. That's why they call, you know, chlorophyll the blood of plants. So anyway, just a little something to keep in mind. And again, there's nothing wrong with any food out there, as long as a raw food. I would suggest one food that's commonly consumed out there that you hear a lot about is soy. Stay away from soy. Soy is really bad food. It's got so many problems. We won't go into it today, but yeah, I'm telling you something. That's not a good food. But let's get into, you know, spirulina and chlorella, high energy foods. Spirulina in particular, very high energy food. You want to take that maybe an hour and a half before you work out, and you're going to feel a lot of great energy out of those foods. Chlorella also great for energy. And chlorella in particular, very high in dietary fiber. It's about 20% of the food is dietary fiber. And it is probably the best dietary fiber known of any plant in the world. So, all right. It binds with heavy metals, herbicides, pesticides, pulls them out of the body. It's great for digestion. If you have an upset stomach or something, take some chlorella. I mean, it really can help a lot with that. Depends on why it's upset, but that's kind of one of the things you can do with those. Now, what about healing properties? They have incredible healing properties of all kinds. Chlorella is very powerful anti-cancer properties, as an example. And not only high energy, but again, anti-disease properties. They're building the immune system. You're always knocking it down. Best way to knock down your immune system is go eat some fast food. Go eat some hot dogs. Go eat some Doritos. Live on a Dorito diet. Live on any kind of diet where your foods are really not, you know, in there where they should be. And you know, really cook food, processed food. Stay away from processed foods. They're really just poison. That's the truth. Processed foods are absolutely garbage, and fast foods garbage. You don't know what's in that food. You think you know what's in it, but I wouldn't bet what's in it. I grew up grew up on fast foods because my parents never really went to those places. But once I got into high school, I ate my share at McDonald's. I think the food was better quality back then than it is now, but avoid that like the plague. Get away from these seed oils, they call them. That's when you go into the supermarket. You're looking at vegetable oil. I mean, what oil from vegetables? I mean, just stay away from this stuff. This is highly processed oils, foods of any kind. That's why I don't buy anything out of a box, a jar, or a can. And I haven't done that literally for about 40 years now, believe it or not. You know, very important that you get all these nutrients into your body. And the two best best foods in the world for it are spirulina and chlorella. High energy, as I said, great healing foods. Now, I fasted one time with spirulina and chlorella for 10 days. I honestly never felt better, and I never had so much energy in my entire life than when I fasted exclusively on those two foods. And I'm writing a book right now about fasting itself. I just started it, so it'll be a while before I finish that one. But you know, when you fast, you're only drinking water, but you can. So that's a true fast, a water fast. You want to stay mineralized and all that, but it's just only should be eating. You know, just consuming water. Make sure you stay hydrated. But spirulina and chlorella, when you just eat those and you fast only with those, man, you're going to lose a lot of weight and it'll be really healthy. You'll be getting all your nutrients and you're going to have a huge amount of energy. So, you know, what else can I say about these? Well, I could talk all day. There is a fermented chlorella. It's not a bad food, but it's not like the real thing that, you know, you get from the sunlight. So I prefer sun-grown, sunlight-grown chlorella, and same with spirulina. Now, you can't ferment spirulina, but Don't give them any ideas. The fermented foods are fantastic, but believe me, it's not for chlorella, it's not the food you want to ferment and eat that food. Like I said, you can consume these anytime on an empty stomach. You could get up in the morning and make that your breakfast instead of, bacon and eggs or a bowl of cereal or whatever you've been programmed to believe is healthy for you. You're just filling yourself up. You're just filling the belly. And a lot of people say, you know what? If I don't eat by like 1 o'clock or I don't eat by 11, I start getting a headache. Yeah, because your body's detoxifying. And the classic symptoms of toxicity or of detoxification, I should say, are headaches, rash, diarrhea, and fatigue. So if you get any of those, like you haven't eaten, that's what's going on. You eat a bunch of chlorella, you start getting rashes, probably because your body's detoxifying. And that's what's going on. So headaches, rash, diarrhea, and fatigue, those are the classic symptoms of living on or of detoxification and living on the wrong foods, and then suddenly either going on a fast or start putting the right things into your body, and you'll detoxify. So one other thing, I just wanted to make sure you understood that with spirulina and chlorella, they have the entire vitamin B complex. Now we're always worried about vitamin B12. Well, this has vitamin B12. There's a couple different types of vitamin B12. One of them is called cyanocobalamin, and another one's called methylcobalamin. There's a couple other kinds, but let's not get into it. They're okay. But those two, cyanocobalamin, that's cyanide. So there's a cyanide molecule there with cobalamin. What is cobalamin? That's cobalt. That's a mineral. So your body produces B12, okay? So when you want to go get B12, vitamin B12 from meat, fish, eggs, or dairy, like you got to eat meat because it's the only place you can get B12. It's such a lie. It's such a misconception. I don't know if they're really just like lies or people know. I think it's more ignorance and they tell you this stuff. So, vitamin B12, basically, where does that come from? Well, that comes from bacteria. So probiotic, okay? And all you're doing, when you're eating meat and you're getting B12, well, you're eating the animal that produced the B12. That's all. So you need cobalt, this mineral, cobalt, and then you need bacteria, like a probiotic, and then you'll have B12. My B12, last time I got it tested, well, it was maybe this year, this was really, really high. My B6 was really, really high. I had a full workup when I was in Taiwan in March. I mean, I was in that place for hours, and they were testing me for everything. Bone density, very high. I got a great bone product that I'm trying to promote, or I'm always promoting everything that I do. But anyway, so those are the kind of things that you want to kind of consider when you're putting something into your body. Where's it coming from? What am I eating this for? Well, you don't need to eat meat, fish, eggs, or dairy for protein, because you can get them from spirulina and chlorella. You can get B12 from spirulina and chlorella. Some people say you can't get B12 from spirulina. Maybe that's true, but just make sure you supplement with cobalt. I sell cobalt, DrBobMcCauley.com. I sell cobalt, which is a mineral, and I sell it in the liquid angstrom form, meaning you just put some under your tongue and hold it there, and it goes directly into your body through your sublingual duct and into your bloodstream. So you can get cobalt, and then take a probiotic. You should be doing that anyway. You'll get all the B12 that you need. So it just gives you an idea what you really can be doing. I'm a big promoter of digestive enzymes. I'll tell you something. You are what you eat. No, you're not. You are not what you eat. You are what you can assimilate. And you cannot assimilate these foods if you can't break them down into their rudimentary nutrients with the proper digestive enzymes that the body creates naturally. But I recommend you supplement with those. I don't want to get into too much detail, but it's these digestive enzymes that break down our protein and our fats and our carbohydrates and do all these things. The chewing process does a lot of that, but you are what you can assimilate, and you can't assimilate things if you're not breaking them down into the rudimentary nutrients. Now, one other thing before I go, great digestion for both spirulina and chlorella. They're immune system builders. They're really building your immune system. If people get sick, they get colds all the time, cold, cold, cold. Well, you want to take silver for that, liquid angstrom, silver, hold it into your mouth, go into your body. I had meningitis, and I took some silver and it knocked it right out. It's a long story. Another book that I wrote, Silver, the Miracle Mineral, The End of Infectious Disease. Again, DrBobMcCauley, ND, looked up on Amazon, or go to my website. You can buy my books, and that'll give you an idea of what you can, what books I've written, and how you can learn about great health, true health, the kind of health most people just really, just dream about. They really don't put the right foods into their body. Let's see if I missed anything. I'm trying to hit on the main parts of what spirulina and chlorella are, because again, I could talk about these foods all day. They're so amazing, and they're so nutritionally dense, and there's so much to be said about them. But you just got to add them to your diet, and now you're getting all the protein you need. And then if you want to eat meat, fish, eggs, or dairy, it's strictly for the taste. And that's just, people just got this, we get programmed. I mean, you get programmed into eating a certain way. People get old, people get sick, and they die. No. People live on the wrong diet, they get sick, and they die. Age has nothing to do with it. Really has nothing to do with it. People say the body's designed to live 120 years. Well, I think it's designed to live a lot longer than that, and to live as long as you want to, as long as you live on the right diet. And by the way, these foods, spirulina and chlorella, have fed the poor. Really, in particular, spirulina, because it's so easy to grow. Chlorella is not that easy to grow. You got to know what you're doing, really do. Spirulina, that stuff is very easy to grow. And they have these spirulina farms throughout Africa. You don't hear anything about it, but they really feed people, and the world's nutrition could be just eradicated with these two superfoods alone. And again, as I said, you're building your immune system. And people feel like they're victims of a disease, like, how did I get cancer? I mean, why me? Because you lived on the wrong diet. You got exposed to toxins. Basically all disease is one thing, toxicity in the body. And then, cancer in particular, that's the emperor of all diseases. You got a tumor. You got a tumor here, and then what do? They do a biopsy. Well, this thing is actually a tumor. There's either benign or cancerous, but it's full of toxins. And so it's kind of trying to protect the body and gathering these toxins so they don't spread through the body. And then you go do a biopsy and you poke it, and the next thing you know, it releases all these toxins into the body, and next thing you know, you have cancer. So, cancer, and I wrote a whole book on cancer. It's called The Cure in the Mirror, Nature's Protocol for Surviving Cancer. And I tell you why the medical establishment is not the way you want to go when it comes to when it comes to disease. I wouldn't go in that direction. They'll really come after you. Okay, guys like me, they'll really come after you. You're making medical claims. I don't know anything about medicine, but I do know everything about health. And if you want to be healthy, well, nature is everything. And you say, why do you eat raw foods? Why so many raw foods? Well, because God grew an apple, and we made a frying pan. And you can't improve on God's creation. Okay, you can make it taste better. You can make an apple pie. I'd rather eat an apple pie. But if you want health, there's that apple. And that's true of any raw food. Once you cook it, you've destroyed the enzymes in it and the organic chemical structure. And now it is just mere substance. And, I guess a raw apple is an example of what is, and a cooked apple is an example of what was. So if you want to be healthy, raw foods. Raw is the law. And there's so many of my friends up here in Lansing and down in Detroit that have talked about that and lectured on it and done all that for all these years. And I always want to tell, I'm going to end with this. I was supposed to go 30 minutes. I'm going to go a little over 30, maybe 40 minutes, just because I got a big mouth. And I love talking about, great health and how healthy people can be. You can be healthy if you want to be healthy, okay? You just choose not to. This is your choice. This is your choice to be sick. This is your choice to live a healthy lifestyle. It's as simple as that, and again, you go for the potato chips. Okay. The what are those orange ones? The Cheetos or whatever. What is that? Is that something? What is that dust on there? I mean, what's even called Pringles? That's a weird thing. All the very weird foods. So at any rate, really, once you get away from it and you see processed foods, you begin to understand how really disgusting they are. But anyway, I think I've mentioned everything, but I was just going to leave you with, well, by the way, people talk about organic, non-organic. Obviously, you want organic, but if it's not grown without pesticides and it's not certified, it's probably just as good as organic. I'm kind of an expert in the organic world, and I see that it's kind of a racket. But that's another issue for another time. We'll not bring that up today. But just remember this. I'll leave you with this. This is your temple. This is the temple that God gave you, your body. People always say, my body's my temple. Yeah, well, if you're sick, you know two things about your body, okay? You know about you are acidic because all disease lives in an acid environment, and you know you're toxic. You got things in the body. What is a toxin? A toxin is something that doesn't belong in the body. It isn't performing any kind of function. And there are very serious, toxins, very mild toxins, and serious ones such as heavy metals, herbicides, pesticides, hydrocarbons, benzene, all these trimethanes. These are serious toxins, okay, radiation. And then there's very mild toxins, and they don't bother you very much, but they don't belong there. Just imagine, you're trying to run an office and you've got people working and they're moving around, but you got some guys there and they're just hanging around. They're talking to people and they're getting away. These are the toxic environments. You got to get rid of them for the office to function properly. Well, the same is true with the human body. You got to get rid of those things that are in the way, that don't perform a function, that don't perform any meaningful physiological process in the body that's going to do something. That's what a toxin is. So you got to get those out of there. And these are the two greatest foods in the world that will get rid of toxins better than any other foods I know of. And there's other great ones. I mean, there's great ways to detox with so many. Every single raw food has some kind of a detoxification property to it because it's pulling out things. It's either pigments, it could be carotenoids, or something that's detoxing you. And when you put cooked foods into your body, then those displace their toxins into the body, and then you just got to go remove them again. But you like eating cooked foods, so that's why you keep eating them. You like the taste of them. I think you may be beginning to understand why maybe I'm not so popular, okay? Because I tell it like it is, especially my family. The truth is, they can't stand me and I don't lecture them. They just know what I think, and that they know what I know, or they know that I know something that they don't agree with. And so they really don't want anything to do with me. It's kind of funny. But anyway, it doesn't matter. What's important is that, you keep this positive mental attitude. Remember that this is the temple that God gave you. And if it's sick, it's because it's your fault. If you're sick, it's your fault. You did it. You, not anyone else. Okay? You might have been exposed to heavy metals, herbicides, pesticides, but you can get those out of the body. Okay? You go fill up your car with gasoline. You're breathing in all that gas, you smell it. It's going right into your bloodstream. That's what benzene, trimethanes, hydrocarbons, going right into your body. You got to get those out of there. It's not like, oh, we're just living in a toxic world. We do, but there's ways to get those out of the body. And, there's a great one. I heard really great raw foodist tell me recently, Moselle, my great friend, soak your feet. It really soaking your feet, really, it's just so true. You can really get so many toxins out of your body. It really enlivens you, and increases circulation. And yeah, I could write a whole book on that, but I'm not going to do it because she's writing one. So there's my great friend, Moselle. She's just such a great health guru. And she invited me down to do the speak today, the speech. So at any rate, maybe you got some questions for me. You can contact me. Is again watershed.net. Send me an email. I have the Watershed Wellness Center in Lansing, Michigan. You can look us up online. I do health consultations. I have a YouTube channel. I have hundreds and hundreds of YouTube videos that I've done for YouTube. That one's called Watershed 11 or Dr. Bob McCauley. So yeah, it's YouTube, Dr. Bob / Dr. Bob McCauley. Let me up there. I'm on Twitter. I don't do a lot of posting, but anything posting I do is all about health. I don't care about politics. I think most people don't. I care about health because that's what's really lasting. The most important thing in your life is God, your relationship with God. Second most important thing in your life, it's your health. Why? Well, what about your family? How can you take care of your family if you're sick? You don't want to become a detriment. You don't want to become, a liability. Somebody who can't earn money and can't, help others, can't pick. You need to be picked up. You need to be dressed. You need to be moved around because you got sick. So really, if you want to live a healthy lifestyle or live a great life, it's all about staying healthy. And then number 3 is your family, so you can take care of them. So take care of yourself so you can take care of your family. It's like when they tell you if the plane's going down, put the mask over your face and breathe oxygen and breathe it in, and then help the guy next to you. Don't try to help the kid next to you, your son, your daughter. Help yourself, and then you can help them. Same is true with your diet. And this is the temple of God, your body. Go look at next time. And the cure in the mirror. Go look for the cure for any disease. There it is. It's in the mirror. It's you, the greatest physician in the world. I'm Dr. Bob McCauley. And I really enjoyed doing this talk for you. I hope you got a lot out of it. They said half an hour, I'm at 45 minutes. See, I just can't shut up about health. It's always been the way with me. You guys out there, I hope we got something out of my talk. I hope you learned something about the true greatest foods in the world. See that, Bob McCauley, ND. Go look me up online if you need to. Spirulina and Chlorella, kings of all superfoods. They always talk about superfoods. These are the kings. And Chlorella, the most amount of chlorophyll, the most amount of nucleic acids, which we didn't even get into. And there's so many things. I could go on for hours. And the most amount of protein of any food. Nothing even comes close. Nothing comes close. Like the closest one, that would be spirulina. Another great, incredible superfood. And what I've been eating these now since, 1995 is when I first put them into my body. And I've been doing it ever since. So it's been a while. Dr. Bob, you guys are the best, and stay healthy. And I hope I can come down and do a talk for you some other time. And you take care, and God bless.